What time they going in?
10 o'clock.
It's not gonna sound good.
It'll sound the way it sounds.
Oh, don't start getting all que sera on me.
Que sera, sera?
Never mind. This is serious.
I know.
Anything interesting?
Cloak and Switchblade, the CIA's alliance with criminals around the world.
Now there's a good omen.
It's 2 minutes to 10.
I stopped off for a caramel latte. Isn't it a beautiful day? I'm usually stuck in the office at this time. Would you like a sip?
Ah, thanks. I already threw up at home.
You must be familiar with the committee.
A lot of faces have changed.
Anyone you think is a friend?
Friend, this is Washington, Carl. Anytime somebody screws up, it's an opportunity for somebody else to stand on the corpse and look taller. Remember who we're dealing with here. Senator Grimes. She likes to think she's a crusading CIA watchdog. Parson, DiCarlo, I don't know who's the bigger Boy Scout. And Senator Bowden. He keeps a portrait locked in his office vault that grows more sincere and less ambitious with every passing year.
Is there any part of the truth you'd like me to emphasize?
The truth is the truth.
But like everything else, the truth requires good lighting if it's going to look attractive.
Director Gage,
Senator,
the committee thanks you and your colleagues for coming here today to answer our questions. We'd like to begin.
Senator, if I may, I'd like to start by reading a statement.
We'd prefer not. We have a copy of your remarks. We'll enter them into the record. We'd like to proceed directly to questioning these witnesses one at a time without their colleagues being present.
We want to be thorough. It's only fair to you. We wouldn't want to blame the wrong people.
I really believe we can brief you on this operation very quickly.
I'm sure you can. But we're also concerned with the implications of this operation.
Senator, we're talking about a single incident. I'm not aware of any broader issues.
There's the survival of your agency. The massive failure we're here to investigate is just another reminder that the CIA may have reached the end of its useful life. Now, the surgical team, I understand these were not CIA employees.
No, they were civilian doctors with whom the CIA has a relationship. They agreed to be available should their services be required.
And you were there to provide a technical briefing.
Yes, sir, that's correct. I went into the field to conduct a series of...
That would be a farm in Virginia, not 90 minutes from here?
Senator, some people go to France, some to Asia. I'm lucky if I make it to the CIA food court. Virginia is my field. Call me Joshua. I'm here to help you become a finely honed team. I believe you'll find everything's prepared, including the goats.
Goats?
You'll practice by transplanting the heart from goat A, Jezebel, to goat B, Howard.
I've never given anesthesia to a goat.
I have every confidence in you, Dr. Hausman. Dr. Belmont, you'll be using a miniature perfusion machine we've come up with, much more mobile.
Well, where is it that we're going that mobility is so important?
England.
That's not true, is it?
Belgium. Let's proceed.
But you, in fact, knew where the operation was and what it was about.
Oh, yes, sir.
You knew they'd be operating on a member of a Colombian terrorist operation known as SORP.
Yes, sir.
And based on what you knew of the operation and the people you recruited to perform it, did you have any reason to believe there might be a problem?
I'm not sure what you mean, sir.
Did you at any point feel the operation was ill-judged? What were your thoughts?
I thought that SORP was a pretty silly name for an organization that wants to strike terror. Shining Path. There was a name. Shining Path. But
Thank you, Mr. Nankin. You're excused.
That's okay. Thank you very much, sir.
So, the operation was your idea originally, Mr. Hazley?
In the sense that I became aware of an opportunity. The CIA sometimes offers the benefits of American medical technology as an incentive.
To a terrorist?
Pablo Martinez was a highly placed member of SORP. We became aware that his wife had filled a prescription for him in Bogota. Amiodarone and nitroglycerin tablets, heart medicine. So we traced it back to his doctor and
Viral
obtained...
cardiomyopathy, a degenerative heart condition.
Yes, he'd be dead in a couple of years. We could extend his life.
The life of a terrorist. I mean, that's what SORP does, isn't it? Murder, kidnap, blow up oil pipelines, in bed with Colombian drug runners.
In exchange for a new heart, Martinez would agree to be our man inside the organization. He could warn us about those pipelines, for instance, at a time when this country is trying to become less dependent on Middle East oil.
What if he took our heart, then double-crossed us?
We'd put out evidence of the deal he'd made with us, and his people would never trust him again.
So you felt America's interests would best be served by restoring this terrorist's health?
No, sir.
No.
I'm an analyst. I don't make company policy. I discussed the matter with Mr. Quinn, who was familiar with Martinez from his time in the Latin American division, to see if he thought that the man was vulnerable.
But in the end, you made the recommendation to Director Gage.
Yes.
And that recommendation was?
To approach Martinez and offer him a heart.
But you didn't do that yourself?
No, sir. We sent Terry Lowell and A.B. Stiles, and they made contact with an agent from the DEA.
10-foot ceilings, 40-watt bulb. You do the math. Lucky if I can read my own reports.
Agent Riddick?
You must be Stiles and Lowell. I keep asking my sister in Bayonne to send me 60 waters. She thinks I'm joking. All the wiring needs to be torn out and replaced. Last Christmas, we got a short in the wall behind the tree. And the next thing we knew, we were aiming a fire hose at the photocopier.
Sounds festive.
Well, we were budgeted for new wiring last year, but then suddenly the war on drugs just wasn't as important as the war on terrorism.
They didn't give us your light bulb money.
So they tell me you're interested in one of the targets I've been following.
Actually, he's a guerrilla leader. Pablo Martinez.
He's the one you want to bring over to our side?
You don't think we should?
Pablo Martinez. Left school at 14, extortion and murder by 16. Joined SORP to aid the Marxist revolution. His personal technique to win the hearts and minds of the masses is to massacre their families if they don't give a financial contribution. He kidnapped and murdered 2 senators, even though they paid ransom. He strangled one of them with his own intestines when he resisted.
Did you really think this was a good idea?
In what sense?
You were taking a heart from an American citizen and giving it to a murderer.
This man has murdered hundreds of people. His alleged politics are a sham. He's an enforcer and partner to drug runners. He likes to kill and torture.
Yes, Senator.
Yes. That's your answer.
I'm not sure of the question, sir.
Was this a good idea?
It was feasible. Tricky because we had to meet Martinez in his compound. He never went anywhere without his bodyguard.
I'm not talking operationally, I'm speaking ethically. Morally.
I just do operations, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Phil.
Tom,
Guess Eileen has given up on getting you home in a decent hour.
we split up.
I'm sorry.
That's what happens when you put your job ahead of your marriage. Noting as I say this, you're not home at a decent hour either.
Phil, what's going on?
Should we be having this conversation?
Why not? You're not a judge. And I'm not on trial. Am I?
I'm investigating a troubling incident as per my brief as chair of the
So
Intelligence
investigate the incident. Why are you using it as a club to destroy a 50-year-old agency?
Tom, these days especially, we all got to think about what's best for the country.
Aren't we?
You know the Organization of Homeland Security is still up in the air? We got to make sure it has what it needs to succeed.
And you think it needs the CIA?
Maybe it's time about the agency and start worrying about yourself.
Why?
This whole Columbia thing happened on your watch. The people in there telling the story are all handpicked by you personally. If this mess does sink the CIA, whom do you think is going to be blamed? Nobody's saving a seat for you in the Senate. Are you ready to retire? It's almost 10. Don't make the same mistake I did. Go home to your wife.
How goes the Spanish Inquisition?
Done with thumb screws, moving on to the Iron Maiden.
Anything I can do?
You hearing much talk about this at Homeland Security?
I don't get over there much anymore.
You're on their payroll.
As CIA liaison, you know I'm more comfortable here.
Well, don't get too comfortable. Bowden is working this to fold the CIA into Homeland Security. Or did you know that?
No, I didn't.
It'd be a catastrophe. You know that.
You've managed to acquire quite a bit of loyalty to the organization during your comparatively brief tenure. You surprise me.
No, I don't.
Mr. Stiles, if you had no moral qualms about saving the life of a ruthless criminal, perhaps you had no qualms about taking the lives of innocent
That would be
people.
incorrect, ma'am.
And what the hell were you thinking?
I was thinking about the operation. Our station in Bogota had gotten a message to Martinez, but we had to go see him playing a cover.
Turn around. I love my job, baby. Stay still.
We knew we had to be careful of Jorge Roldan, Martinez's second in command. He wasn't exactly the
Mr. Parks?
trusting type.
Miss Ducky? Good to see you didn't get lost. The Comandante is expecting you. This way. Constanza's new project is here.
Ah, wonderful.
We found Martinez looking healthier than expected.
I'm glad you made it.
So, you and Ms. Lowell were undercover as drug dealers?
No, sir. Martinez has strong relationships with American drug traffickers. Our story wouldn't have held up past the first phone call.
Then under what auspices were you invited?
Wallpaper. Art wallpaper. That costs from $6,000 to $12,000 for an average room, up to $15,000 if it's one of a kind.
So you were there as decorators?
Classical. Oh, Baroque.
Show me the pre-Raphaelite design from your website.
Pre-Raphaelite? You know what? I think you'd like this one. It's based on a design from a brothel in ancient Pompeii. It's really very tasteful.
I love it.
And it must be the most expensive one in the book.
Well, no one can argue with my taste.
Ah.
Maybe Mrs. Martinez can show me some of the other rooms.
Oh, I'm not Mrs. Martinez.
She's out shopping.
I'm sure I'm buying her an expensive surprise, too.
I'll show you the house.
Actually, you probably know more about wallpaper than I do. How are you feeling?
I didn't know that the CIA made house calls.
Just think of me as your guardian angel, here to help you live to a nice old age, if you agree to provide certain information.
Sure. You'll put me on a plane. You'll take me to a hospital in America.
We've brought it all to you. Mobile surgical unit, top cardiac surgeon. We've already tissue matched you based on records we borrowed from your doctor. Comandante Martinez is deciding whether to have us killed or to live a full and happy life.
Since you're sitting here now, Mr. Stiles, I gather the decision was a happy one.
Yes, sir.
At least for you.
Please continue, Mr. Stiles.
Martinez was weighing his options.
It's ridiculous. It's insane.
We have a plan.
Well, it's dangerous. My friend Rodan, he would be heartbroken if he thought that I agreed to betray him. Violently heartbroken.
You'll say you want to go to the soccer game tonight in Valero. When you get there, you tell Roldan to go to the game without you. There's an old girlfriend you want to see, you know.
You didn't mention it at the house because you didn't want to make the women jealous. You have him drop you off at the girlfriend's place. We'll have a woman in there in case he comes in.
The room inside the building will be prepped for surgery. The operation will be over by dawn.
The cover story then is that you become sick. The stretcher will take you
No,
out.
Roldan will never let me go to the hospital. I'll be exposed.
Your new doctor will accompany you home with a new assistant. They'll tell everyone you have contagious meningitis and should be left alone to recover for the next several weeks.
Where are you getting the heart?
Flown down from Miami. The timing's looking good.
The timing?
The person using the heart isn't quite finished with it yet.
So, Mr. Martinez decided he wanted an American heart. Mr. Stiles.
Sir.
Pablo Martinez wanted a new heart.
Well, he wanted to live, but it wasn't that easy.
My God. I could have a new heart tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Give my friend your watch.
My watch?
Yeah.
Chrono Explorer. We couldn't tell from our photos what model it was.
We're giving you an improved version with a listening device so that we'll know when to expect you and whether Rodan plans on sticking around.
Such fine work. You must have steady hands. I like that in a woman.
Quinn is being helpful. He's offered to plead our case at Homeland Security.
Right. I'm just waiting for him to roll a large wooden horse onto the lawn next to the statue of Nathan Hale.
You think he's behind this?
Well, I think he wants my job, but no, I don't think he's willing to destroy the agency to get it.
Then what's pushing Bowden?
Bowden is. Some of the whiz kids around the president are hot for consolidation.
No, he's making his case on this Colombia operation.
Good choice. Makes us look like crap.
Us? or a rogue individual who exhibited singularly bad judgment.
Quinn's idea, right?
If the future of the agency's at stake. Hazley proposed the operation.
No. He's our best analyst. I'm not going to hang him out to dry.
I wasn't suggesting that, sir. I was merely passing along another point of view. Of course, there's a much more obvious choice.
Everything was ready. We had a monitoring station in one room and the surgery in another. It all should have gone as planned, but...
We flew over Bogota. I recognized that I've been there.
I say Peru.
We're not supposed to be speculating.
We're not in the Army. Scientists speculate.
Tell you what, just for tonight, pretend you are in the Army.
All right, where do I operate?
Next room.
Sink's ready, instruments sterilized, and we got that bovie you wanted for the cauterization.
Here's your heart.
Thanks. Where's my patient?
We got a problem.
The soccer game in Valero was canceled. The team bus broke down. So without a game, Martinez had no excuse to leave the compound.
Couldn't just tell us Manny had a girlfriend?
He could, but that gave his people time to think about it and start asking questions.
Tú no tenías ninguna intención de ver el juego de fútbol, ¿verdad?
Si es escoger entre una mujer bella y un grupo de muchachos del pueblo que están jugando fútbol, por favor, hermano.
¿Por qué es que yo nunca he oído de esta belleza antes?
Well, Mr. Stiles, once you saw that things were dicey, did it occur to you that perhaps the operation should have been abandoned?
No.
Yo pensé que yo conocía a todos tus exnovias. Y 2 mujeres no son lo suficiente para un hombre de tu condición. ¿Sí? Espera un momentito. Es para ti.
Diga.
¿Sabes qué hora es? ¿Sabes cuánto tiempo te he estado esperando?
Perdóname.
Obviamente a ti no te importa que te tengo una escena preparada. Con velas y el vestido con rayas que todavía me queda para que sepas. Pero tú tienes mejores cosas que hacer.
Estaré ahí en 40 minutos, lo prometo. Adiós, mi querida. ¿Qué? Claramente, algunos hombres tienen suficiente para 3 mujeres, en cualquier condición.
Fortunately, Martinez's reputation worked for us. Roldan took him into town, and Martinez made it clear he wanted privacy. He was there on time, medical team was ready, everything was looking good.
Now, when I tell you, count backward from 100. Now.
100, 99, 98.
Jigsaw.
Raven, this is Jigsaw.
We got 3 local cops driving down the street.
Where are they going?
Damn. Into the house.
Evacuate?
No, too late. Keep them calm, we're coming in.
Señorita.
Yes, what do you want?
Voy a todos los cuartos.
Okay, hold on. What do
An
you
American?
want? Yes,
We
my
must search this
husband is
house.
very, very sick.
What is in that room?
Hold on, I need to know what authority you have to be in
Enter
this
the
house.
room now. We're here to arrest that man.
Close the door!
Get him up.
Get them out of here!
He's in B-Fam.
200 joules. ¿Qué pasa aquí?
No sé qué pasa, pero muchachos, cuidado.
Clear.
Get him off the table.
He's having a heart attack.
Everybody.
Hey.
No!
Nurse Maya Gallen, Dr. Kevin Houseman, Dr. Wendell Mercer, not to mention 3 law enforcement officers, and Mr. Martinez, the object of the exercise.
Martinez wasn't shot. He died of a heart attack.
Well, that's so much better. Would you please tell us, Mr. Stiles, why you found it necessary to leave your sentry point outside that house, rush in and open fire? Why you couldn't have simply allowed those policemen to arrest Mr. Martinez and depart?
They weren't there to arrest him. They were there to kill him. And to do that without witnesses, they would have killed us all.
And how did you come to that conclusion?
Well, for one thing, the shovels in the back of the truck they drove up in. Now, shovels don't imply arrest. They imply grave digging.
That's it?
That and the handcuffs.
What handcuffs?
Exactly. They didn't have handcuffs.
Hey!
If they were there to arrest him, they would have brought some.
There could be 50 reasons why they had shovels in the back of their truck, and 50 ways they could have restrained Mr. Martinez without using handcuffs.
I know. Those are only supporting evidence.
Supporting what?
The policeman. I recognize one of them. And he recognized me. He saw that I knew him. Now, if there was any chance he was going to let us walk out of there, that took care of it.
Why?
I saw him with Roldan, Martinez's second in command. Now, Roldan somehow figured out that Martinez was switching sides and sent those policemen to kill him.
And you figured all this out because you thought you recognized him, and you thought he recognized you. And now 7 people are dead, including one of the foremost heart surgeons in the United States.
4 people are alive who would have been dead.
Mr. Stiles, this is very hard to believe.
Look, there weren't supposed to be any police in the area. We knew that. We checked. And how did those policemen know exactly where to look for Martinez that night?
Colombian police have been looking for him for 20 years.
No. Roldan knew where he was.
Thank you, Mr. Stiles. I think we grasp your story in its entirety.
Are you gonna eat that donut or just maul it to death?
I go in 90 minutes. Is that what you wanted to talk to me about?
We've seen the after-incident report that Agent Riddick filed with superiors at the DEA. We know what he's gonna tell the committee. That Stiles had no reason to open fire. That he was reckless, overzealous, probably motivated by a desire to protect the operation at any cost. Riddick also makes the point that he studied Martinez for years. And he was aware of no contact between the policemen that Stiles allegedly recognized and any of Martinez's people.
Riddick wasn't at Martinez's house that day.
No, just Stiles and you. It's not clear from your debriefing, Terry, whether you recognize that man or not.
And you're wondering what I'm going to tell the committee?
A lot seems to be hanging on it.
I know.
If you think back on that day, Terry, think back hard. It's possible you remember things more clearly.
You think I want to leave a fellow officer twisting in the wind? I joined the CIA with my eyes open. Deceit's a way of life. But I can't just raise my hand and swear that I saw someone that I'm not sure I saw.
Good.
Good.
If you go in there and tell the truth, you won't have anything to worry about from anybody here. If that crossed your mind.
You don't want me to support Stiles?
I want you to follow your conscience.
You don't want me to support Stiles?
There was a man there. He was speaking to Roldan. But I was busy wrestling the sample cases out of the trunk. Stiles had the time to look around.
So Stiles saw him.
I'm the only one who can back him up. The committee's gonna ask me.
And you're not sure?
I've gone over this in my head so many times. I don't know what I saw.
And if Stiles is right, he saved your life.
I know Stiles is a pain in the ass, but he knows his job. If he says that he saw that policeman in the compound...
He probably did.
Probably.
If it was any consolation, That oversight committee has been around for 30 years, and it wouldn't be the first time CIA people have gone before it and testified creatively. I'm just guessing, of course.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question?
You were present in the surgical unit when Mr. Stiles began shooting.
Yes.
And your vision was not impaired in any way during this event?
I was behind a surgical cart. I couldn't see everything.
But that was after the shooting began.
Yes.
And what would you say prompted it?
Armed men entered the surgery and demanded that we surrender Martinez.
Did you recognize any of these men? Had you seen any of them before?
Yes.
Yes, what?
One of the policemen. The one who did all the talking. When he stepped into the light, I recognized him as a man that I'd seen talking with Martinez's lieutenant the day we went to the hacienda.
You're absolutely certain of this?
Yes, I am.
So did you lie for your friend?
No, I told them what I remembered.
Oh, you people.
No, I saw that policeman before. Stiles saw him before.
You didn't see anything. Neither did he.
Then what were they even doing there? And how did they just happen to find Martinez that night in a secure location if Roldan didn't tell them where to look?
Because I told him. I've been wading through the bodies of Martinez's victims for 6 years. I wasn't going to let you people give him a new heart and then send him off into a golden retirement. I wanted him in jail. I wanted justice.
It blew the operation.
So fire me. I'm going to tell him everything. No death squad. Just a bunch of cops doing their job. Sorry.
Joshua thought you might need a ride.
I just saw Riddick.
How is he?
About to get fired? He's telling the committee that he called the police on Martinez.
What?
He hated Martinez. He didn't want him to get a heart. He wanted him to go to jail. I just told the committee I saw that policeman with Roldan.
I thought you didn't remember.
I thought you were right. And they were gonna hang you unfairly. But if Riddick called the police, then Roldan didn't.
I never asked you to lie for me.
I remembered someone. I remembered a man.
Look, Terry, I don't know what's going on, but nothing changes what I saw.
How do you know what you saw? You were 20 yards from the guy. He was walking away.
Look at the street behind me.
What?
Now, just look. 3 pedestrians crossing, 2 teenage girls and a man with a cane. Middle of the sidewalk, a woman with a leopard print dress she should not be wearing, by the way. On your right, hot dog vendor just sold an extra long with everything to a man with a briefcase. The vendor's got a Yankee ball cap on. He's crazy to be wearing that in Washington. I saw what I saw. Come on. My car's around the corner.
Riddick's testimony. He buries us.
He's the one that sabotaged the operation.
And he'll pay the price. But if he called the police, the committee can make the case that Stiles opened fire for no reason. 7 people dead.
It looks like Riddick's Senator Bowden's new best friend. All that aside, Mr. Riddick, as an expert on Colombia, how would you characterize the CIA plan?
Typically flawed thinking, terminal arrogance.
His command of detail is impressive. Even with a new heart, how long would Martinez live, snorting cocaine every afternoon to shake off his champagne haze, then stuffing himself with foie gras and Sevruga caviar before doing his girlfriend?
That is impressive. Champagne, then cocaine, then caviar.
Sevruga caviar.
How does Riddick know all that?
He watches the groceries go in?
Or he has an informant in that house.
Wouldn't he have mentioned that?
You would think.
Well, I want to thank you for coming to see us, Miss Diaz. But, I have to say, we were a little surprised to find you in Miami.
I have relatives there.
Right. Whom you suddenly decided to visit the day your boyfriend died.
There was no reason for me to stay in his house anymore.
But you left a few hours before he died. You were already on a flight when it happened.
I really appreciate you coming down. Ever since we spoke, I've been feeling very conflicted.
I understand.
Thinking of amending my statement.
Really?
Well, if we could just discuss a few more things in here.
Hi.
I think you two know each other?
What the hell is this?
Oh, we're just trying to figure out what happened.
You mean you want to figure out a way to blame me?
Well, if you don't want to be here, you can leave.
She can't tell you anything I didn't already tell the committee.
We know you work for Mr. Riddick. Why don't you say hello?
She informed for me, so what?
Nothing. Unless you also informed for her. You told her what was happening with Martinez, didn't you? That's how she knew it was time to fly to Miami.
Yes. I knew there'd be recriminations. I didn't want her caught in that, yes.
That's right, he just warned me.
So Riddick told you he was going to have Martinez arrested, but you didn't want him arrested, did you?
I didn't care.
We hacked into the records. You were on Riddick's payroll before you became Pablo Martinez's girlfriend. You got involved with him deliberately. To inform on him. Why?
When Martinez was starting out, some people in your hometown refused to pay his extortion, so he killed a few to set an example, including Marta and Tomas Diaz. Any relation?
Mr. Riddick told you of this operation, and you told Roldan.
Because you didn't want Martinez arrested. You wanted him dead.
Constanza?
Does your report tell you that Pablo tied a bomb around my mother's neck? 6 hours we tried to get it off. No one helped us. Finally, my brother, he tried to cut it, and it blew up. Yes, of course I wanted him dead.
So Riddick has been fired. Miss Diaz is back in Miami. And Senator Bowden is dropping the matter, since the CIA was clearly not at fault.
And Stiles is vindicated. Those policemen were there to kill everybody. Carl.
Yes, sir.
What we talked about in my office, about choosing a scapegoat.
Hypothetical discussion.
Quinn's idea.
Yes, sir. When it appeared the future of the agency might depend on it.
But it didn't. I assume you didn't take any action.
Sir, if I ever do anything that you shouldn't know about, rest assured, I won't tell you.
Mr. Hazley. Always a pleasure. Come to consult me about another Latin American matter?
The same one, actually. I've been paying a lot of attention to Sorp Martinez Group, looking through the reports.
Find anything interesting?
2 other members of the organization have developed symptoms similar to Martinez. Viral cardiomyopathy.
The jungle, a breeding ground for disease.
Well, as diseases go, this one seems very pro-American. 3 cases, all youngish men, all specific group. How did you do it?
A scratch of the skin, the introduction of a virus, and a future valuable connection.
You maneuvered me into making that recommendation to offer Martinez a new heart. How'd you know back then that he was worth infecting, that he was going to rise so far?
I didn't. I just chose the 6 candidates I thought most likely to gain power.
6?
Cheer up, Mr. Hazley. The operation wasn't a failure after all. It's just not finished. If we're lucky, next year we can go back and make Rodan the same offer.